fair bit of drinking on the weekend, so much so I ran out of beer. Would you believe it? So we had to dive into a little bit of the Vienna Smash that we made the other week. But I do want to save that majority of it for the competition, the Spring Smash Off, and that's just around the corner now. It's going to be upon us sooner than you think. But I did more than one smash beer to see which I thought was probably the best to enter. And the one I'm drinking now is the Munich Smash. As you can see, it's nice and clear. Munich malt, Hercules hops. S23 lager yeast. This is divine, really nice. And well carbonated, which is something that we're going to be showing you tonight. How I can carbonate some beer pretty much straight out of the clearing cube and into my glass, really, because we've got quite a lot of beer in here. We've got the Jogger's Nipple bitter just here, you'll hear it, yeah, and then below that, underneath the boil table, the brewing table if you like, we've got 3 20-litre buckets containing just a lager malt Hercules hop smash. And then you've just seen over here the Munich Smash, and you're sitting on the fridge which has the Vienna Smash in it. Slightly overcarbonated if anything. So although I've got plenty of beer, and also upstairs I've got this Golden Summer Slumber Pale Ale, which I've, well, that's an ale, so it's in the house. But it's finished. It's every beer in the brewery at the minute has actually been racked once. And the lagers are well over a month old now. The bitter is probably three weeks old, maybe 2 weeks old. When did Chris come round? Last weekend? Maybe a week and a half. And the Summer Slumber is 2-3 weeks old. So I've managed to brew pretty much every week for the past month or so. So I've got quite a lot of beers on. But before I show you this carbonating with my carbonation caps, I just want to tell you something that I'm really, really excited about. Now, we all know of Clement's Homebrew, Kevin and Christian, the father and son combination, which we all love to watch. They've put out many good videos, and also they've put me onto a lot of homebrewers as well, which perhaps I wouldn't have watched their videos if I didn't watch Clement's Homebrew's videos. And of course last week's edition of Homebrew Wednesday, I think it was last week, where Hockey Player and Immoladius came round to their house. Fantastic. I laughed my bollocks off watching Hockey Player's footage of that. That was fantastic. I knew Kevin wouldn't put it up. But it just so happens that sometime in May, Kevin's going to be coming across to the UK with his wife, and I'm hoping, well, it looks like it's going to go ahead. He's coming up to our neck of the woods, and we're going to arrange a meet. It does look like he's got quite a full calendar for the visit, so I don't know how long this is going to be brief or what, although I'm quite willing to put as much time in as needs be. I can find time for a brewer any day of the week, especially one that's coming all the way from the west coast of the United States, so I'm looking forward to this meeting anyway. So I just wanted to let you know I'm excited. I can't wait to meet you, Kevin. So why don't we get some beer out of one of these clearing cubes, because I've run out, and I did this earlier on, so I've had a couple of pints already. and let's carbonate some more. See how it's done. Okay, so you can see we've got a bit of siphon tubing in here in this bucket that's got a bit of star sand in the bottom. Now this star sand, ladies and gentlemen, that's gone a bit cloudy because our water's particularly hard. And here's the bottle that I filled earlier on. So you can see there's just a little bit in the bottom because I've been pouring it into there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my siphon. I'm going to go ahead and top that back up with what we have in here, which is the Munich Smash, which is very lager-like. It's sort of malty, sweet and dry, which is quite a combination, but the bittering on it is perfect. It just comes through absolutely deliciously. I think these Hercules hops are actually quite a winner. Maybe they're a little known hop, but they really do pack a punch. So I'm just going to set the camera up and we'll fill this bottle, and then I'll show you where we go next with it. Of course, before I do that, I better show you. Oh, I can't get it off. I better show you what these. Of course, before we do that, take two, I better show you what these caps are all about. Now, I'm sure you've had to pump your tyres up on your push bike or the car before, so you'll recognise this valve. Well, you can buy these with a nut. Yeah, there's the nut round the collar, look. So all you do is you get your soft drinks bottle or whatever you like to use. Obviously you can't use crown caps because you want to be taking these off. But the idea behind it is you chill your beer down to as cold as possible, and what you can do then is inject CO2 into the bottle without needing to prime. So you can pretty much carbonate your beer in a matter of minutes, and all you have to do is drill out a hole which is big enough to accommodate this thread there, which is probably about 10 mil or so, 12 mil, I don't know. Let's put it up here so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, that thread there, and then you push it through. It's got a little gasket on the bottom, and there's also, you might just be able to make that out, there's a black gasket on the inside. I don't know how food safe these are, so you might not be wanting to leave them on, but generally I'll just sort of give it a dip in the sanitizer. Yeah, and then make sure you depress this little button at the top, get some sanitizer running through it, and then pretty much it's okay to go. And what I've also done as well is I've used this to carbonate bottles that I've wanted to send out. A few of the beers that I sent to Kevin, actually, funnily enough, I carbonated using this method, so there was no sediment in the bottle. But what you have to do is get your beer chilled really down, close to freezing. In fact, after I'd carbonated it, I put it in the freezer, so all of the CO2 actually went into the liquid itself. And then when you bring it back out again, you can whip this cap off quickly and replace it with a standard cap. And then hopefully you manage to maintain the majority of your carbonation in the beer. So that's the cap, guys. These are only these little things here. A couple of quid on eBay. Obviously, you cap off a fizzy drinks bottle. Looks like this one was Sprite. And then obviously you need some CO2. So for that part of the deal, we've obviously got our CO2 tanks, and I'll actually set the pressure to around about the 50 psi mark, as you can see there. Right, and then this is sort of a secondary, it's a T here, so normally this will go to the keg. So just if you do put this on, make sure you unplug your kegs, because you don't want to be forcing 50 psi into your keg. And then when you want to reduce it back down to your carbonating pressure of about 12 psi, you may draw beer in through your line. So unplug any corny kegs or anything that you've got fitted to it first. And then once I know that the only thing that's going to be connected to this is the pipe that I want to carbonate with my bottles. I'll go ahead and turn it up to about 50 psi. And on the end of that, you've got one of these little fellas. Okay. Now this is just it's just a valve sort of, you know, I can't really remember what they're called, but you can see what it does. It's what you use to pump your tyres up with, maybe in a garage, and it's just one with a little hose tail on the back, which fits on to my gas pipe, as you can see there. So all we have to do then, once we've got the pressure up to 50 psi, you can go higher. I think these PET bottles are rated to about 110, but generally erring on the side of safety and caution, I'll go to about 50. And then once you've got it all set up like that and your cap screwed on, you just have to, you hear that? Just push him on and you're injecting your CO2 into the bottle. The cap's not screwed down on this occasion, but I'll be showing you with a full demonstration in a second. So now you know the components. You need one of these fellas to go on your gas line. You need one of these fellas to go on your bottle cap. If you buy these in like a pack of 10, you can make 10 of these caps up, okay? And then you can carbonate them to leave them sat in your fridge. And another good thing about it is you can carbonate like 10 litres of beer, take it to a friend's house, yeah? And with these being 2 litre bottles, all you have to do is bring back 5 of your caps and you can throw the bottles away. Leave them at your mate's house. Just put the cap in your pocket. It's next to nothing to carry about. So you can take your home brew, crystal clear home brew, to your mate's house, to a party or whatever, without having to lug a keg about. In fact, 20 litres in a keg, generally a standard 19 litres. So if you made 10 of these, you've got the ability to take a full keg with you, all carbonated, crystal clear, all in your PET bottles. You just have to remember to bring your caps home with you. So let's fill up this one and let's carbonate it. Pop the lid off. I just like to give her a quick dip in the sanitizer, and then what we're going to do is just make sure that my siphon tube's sanitised, at least on one end, okay? Because there's one end going into your beer. Yep, like that. And the other end is going to be going into your bottle. So if you're going to be drinking this right away, you can get away with using the old method of just sucking the siphon to get it started and popping it straight in. So there you go. That's the beer in the siphon. Pop it in there, and can you see that? She's running. Yep, she's filling up. So I'm just going to hold that down here for a second. There we go. Just to get the siphon flowing. You can see the beer coming through the pipe, look. And then when we're near the top, we'll pull the siphon out. There we go. Just another thing to note as well, you want to leave a bit of a headspace, and you'll see why in a second. Right, so I'm hoping you can see this, guys. You remember that headspace we've just left? Well, this is why. We're going to screw our cap on. We're going to crank it down tight. Then we're going to put a finger on this top on the valve. We're going to squeeze all that air out. Yeah? Because that's going to be filled. There we go. That's going to be filled with CO2. Because we need a little bit of space so we can give it a shake. So watch the bottle. When the gas is turned on, of course. Yep. How do you like them apples? So now we're solid as a rock. I mean, look at that. You can see I'm pushing on there. Now watch this. This is the important part. Get your beer cold. Give it a good shake. Now look. Yeah. See? Pressure's gone. Filler again. Look at the foam. Disappears under pressure. You might want to repeat this 7 times, 8 times. Good shake in between. The colder your beer is, the quicker this is going to work. Right, there we go, fellas. That's rock hard. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is pop this in the freezer, and that's going to allow this to settle. Don't leave it in there more than 10 minutes, mind, unless you want it to freeze. So that's going to settle the foam down, and then we'll be able to open it without it all going everywhere. That's the important part. We don't want to be wasting the beer. It's important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this one up with some of the Smash Lager, the lager malt Smash, while this is in the freezer. So we'll come back when I'm in the kitchen and we'll pop one open and we'll see the results. Right, well, that's coat off, me in the house, and also we've bottled, yeah. What do you think? That's the Smash Lager. Looks lager-like to me, eh? Definitely. So shall we pop it open and see what it's like? Now this, you see how the head's dropped now? This is one of the reasons why we leave it in the fridge or the freezer for a bit. Watch the bubbles as we degas it. There you see it all coming up. There we go. So let's give this bad boy a pour and see. I've not tried this carbonated yet. Shall we have a look over here? Pouring technology. In fact, because I know how lively it's going to be. You see how steady I'm pouring that? Well, there we go. Oh, I thought I'd just give you a bit of a teaser on the head there, mate. It looks like it's just proper foamed over. But this lager, I mean, look how clear that is. That's what happens when you cold crash a beer. Yeah? Looks so much better, doesn't it? Oh, wrong way. Right. Well, back to me. So there's our carbonated lager, which we've force carbed with our quick carbonation caps that I've made. The clarity comes from the copper finnings, which obviously I'm using Protofloc during the brew, and also brew your lager. It's the S23 yeast, it's fantastic. But you brew your lager, ramp it up to about 16, 17 degrees for a couple of days, and then step it down to as close as you can get to about 1 degree, then rack it off. And then when your beer warms up a little bit, now there's no finings gone in this at all, none. But I've not tried it, so let's have a sniff. Right, first thing I'm getting off it is it's a little bit bready. Yeah, there's a breadiness to it. But you've got to remember, it's not been lagered, it's just been cold crashed. It needs to sit for 30 days really. And I've force carbed it. Let's have a taste. Cheers. Okay. Well, it's carbonated. I'm getting a bit of sulphur off it. I can tell it needs lagering, but apart from that, it's clean. You've got a bit of a bready taste, which is obviously the yeast is going to want to clean up after itself a little bit more. And I think the lagering phase will probably lift that. Especially if it's conditioned under pressure, it'll lift that sulphury note out of there. Yeah, a little bit of DMS. But I like it. So there you are. That's this week's Homebrew Wednesday, guys. I must say I prefer the Munich Smash, to be honest. Never been a lager man. A lager lout, but not proper lager man. So that's how these babies work. If you can't be bothered to make one, then I'm going to put them up on the website and you can buy them. I'll just have to do a costing, but pop over to idlevalleybrewing.com and these bad boys, sooner or later, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, will be in the shop. Cheers guys, have a good Homebrew Wednesday, drink some beer, brew some beer, and remember, time's never wasted. When you waste